This is RTV6 News at 6, working for you.
And good evening here at 6 o'clock. I'm Mark Mullins, broadcasting from my home tonight.
And I'm Amanda Starantino at the WRTV studios as we continue to practice social distancing to help stop COVID-19. And first at 6, storms with heavy rain and some lightning have moved through central Indiana as temperatures have climbed throughout the day. You can see a little of what we've been dealing with in this video from Fishers here, and we may be in for more. It's a Storm Team 6 alert day. We need to get right to meteorologist Kyle Mounts. Kyle?
Yeah, Amanda, some of us have had a couple rounds of rain and wind. So far, nothing severe across central Indiana. And as we look at Storm Team 6 radar, things are nice and quiet out there this evening. Right now, we've just got a couple of isolated showers kind of dotting the landscape, but we still technically have that slight risk of severe weather from Indianapolis areas to the north, a marginal risk south of there. And in that slight risk, some scattered severe storms are possible. Main threat going to be some gusty winds, possibly some hail in a couple of those as we're looking at some redevelopment. So here's a look at TrueCast. As we get to 8 o'clock tonight, you can see these will be fairly isolated, and I think the best chance of additional storms over the western and northern portions of the state. And then as we go into the overnight, that will continue to lift to the north. Rain cooled 60s around Indianapolis, but still in the 80s, Bloomington and Bedford right now. As we go through this evening, those temperatures actually coming back up to around 70. We'll talk about some more chances for rain and the forecast through the weekend coming up.
An IMPD officer has been suspended and reassigned for comments he made that were captured on a Facebook Live video after police shot and killed Dre John Reed last week. That shooting happened on May 6th. Reed was streaming live on Facebook as he led police on a chase. Now, the stream continued when Reed got out of his vehicle near 62nd Street and Michigan Road and confronted officers. Police say gunfire was exchanged and several shots could be heard over the live stream, which did not capture any video of the actual shooting. After the gunfire ended, one officer could be heard on that Facebook live stream making a comment that appeared to include the words, "It's going to be a closed casket." The officer received a suspension and reassignment of his duties. IMPD says the exact details of the suspension and reassignment are not being released for the officer's safety. He has not been identified, but IMPD says the officer is African American.
And COVID-19 continues to have a grip on the state of Indiana.
The state releasing the latest numbers today. The Indiana Department of Health confirms 634 new cases of the coronavirus. Since the pandemic started, 26,053 Hoosiers have been diagnosed with the virus. The Department of Health reports 26 new deaths. So far, 1,508 people in Indiana have died from COVID-19. 160,239 people in the state have been tested for coronavirus. 16% of them have tested positive.
And about 50% of all COVID-19 deaths in Indiana have happened in people 80 years old or older. That's according to the Department of Health. 47% of the deaths have happened in people between the ages of 50 and 79.
The state says about 40% of all intensive care unit beds in Indiana are available. And of those, the 60% of the ICU beds currently being used, about 17% are being used by COVID-19 patients. Nearly 80% of ventilators are also available around the state. Tens of thousands of Hoosiers are still filing first-time claims for unemployment. Today, the Labor Department announced that more than 30,000 Hoosiers filed for unemployment benefits last week. The department also revised the previous week's number, decreasing it slightly to just more than 42,000 people who filed for unemployment then. In the 8 weeks since businesses started cutting back, more than 650,000 Hoosiers have filed for unemployment.
And all those claims are causing a delay in processing for some Hoosiers who say they filed for unemployment back in March but still have not received their benefits. It is an issue we've been following for weeks, and we're still working to get answers for those waiting on their money. RTV6's Megan Singh-Torm spoke with one man who says he's not sure where else to turn.
The unemployment benefits process has not been easy for Richard Clark.
I filed on March 29th, and I waited and waited.
And now, more than 6 weeks later, he's still waiting.
They keep saying, we'll call you, we'll call you. Well, I'm waiting. My phone is on 24/7.
Clark tells us he worked as a driver for Enterprise, but was laid off due to COVID-19. Now he's relying on unemployment benefits to get by, but so far, he hasn't seen a dime.
I'm just wondering when I'm going to start getting some money in. I mean, it's pretty hard going to the grocery store and not having any money to pay for it with.
He tells us his online portal shows an issue with deductible income, and a claims investigator is supposed to call him.
Sometimes I never get a call back. And then when I do get a call back a couple of days later, or maybe early evening, they said, we're going to be taking care of that for you. And nothing is happening.
A spokesperson for the Department of Workforce Development tells me they hired an additional 160 people to work the call center. They've also tripled the number of claims investigators, although numbers for how many new hires that includes were not immediately available. Still, many like Clark say they think more needs to be done because he's not sure how much longer he can keep waiting.
It's getting down to where, yeah, we need the money to really get by on.
Working for you, Megan Sanctorum, RTV6.
And the Department of Workforce Development has directed people experiencing the deductible income error message to a video on their website that explains why. We will have a link to that as part of this story on our website at theindychannel.com. And hiring Hoosiers is our commitment to connect you to available jobs, especially as thousands in Indiana are out of work because of the COVID-19 pandemic.
And that's why we're bringing you the Hiring Hoosiers job feed. Experience, Strength, and Hope LLC has 2 postings for licensed therapists. The job entails counseling, crisis intervention, resource and support system development, and case management. You will help people recovering from substance abuse, mental illness, PTSD, and other issues.
Jiffy Lube is opening a new service center in Fishers. They are looking for honest, hardworking, and goal-oriented team members.
Harlan Bakeries in Avon has posted 7 job openings. They are full-time positions, by the way.
And Hiring Hoosiers partners Furion is looking for a financial operations business analyst consultant in Indianapolis.
We have even more job opportunities posted on the Hiring Hoosiers job board. Companies post their positions there every day with a link to the application process. To view that job board, just go to hiringhoosiers.com.
Opening, I never thought like working in a restaurant like this day we'd ever experience something like this.
After just a month on the job, a local server, like many other hospitality workers, had to find a new place to work during the pandemic. Tonight, he's sharing what the last 2 months have been like. RTV6's Nicole Griffin reports it comes as furloughed workers begin to return during stage 2 of the state's reopening plan.
For the last 8 weeks, these tables here at Smoky Bones in Greenwood have been empty due to the pandemic. But starting this week, the restaurant is now back open, which means they are practicing social distancing to keep the customers and staff members safe. Signs like this are placed on tables, letting them know that table is not available. We talked to some of the employees as they return back to work.
It's been crazy. I mean, not just as a GM, just as a person. I mean, I don't think that any of us really expect this. It's very surreal.
Stephanie Krukowski started at Smoky Bones in Greenwood as a cook 10 years ago. She's now the general manager in charge of her entire staff during a pandemic.
We're a family here, so, you know, we want to see each other.
Like the leader of a family does, Stephanie looked out for her employees during the pandemic. She helped them find temporary jobs, offered meals, and even called them in to help clean.
It made us feel appreciative, and that's why I wanted to come back.
Bo Thomas only worked at Smoky Bones for a month when the dining room closed. He found temporary work at Aldi, but wished he was still serving.
I was blessed with that, but I was still devastated because I was so excited to start, working here at Smoky Bones.
Now that the restaurant is back open, 12 servers are once again on the schedule, including Bo.
It's definitely a big relief. I'm very excited that we're open.
At the start of every shift, he gets his temperature taken, and before clocking in, he answers a COVID-19 screening.
Have you been exposed to anyone? It's definitely different, but I'm excited and eager to be back.
I want to go up and hug them and everything and be like, oh my God, it's finally like some kind of normalcy, but it's definitely good seeing their faces for sure.
As the restaurant continues to get busier, Stephanie says she hopes to bring back even more servers. Working for you in Greenwood, Nicole Griffin, RTV6.
And the general manager warns people they could have to wait for tables on the weekend due to 50% capacity rule. They also have a new sanitizing procedure that takes several minutes.
Our Rebound Indiana commitment looks at the issues helping or hurting people trying to make a comeback from this pandemic. Call 6 Chief Investigator Rafael Sanchez finds kids in Indianapolis are unable to connect to their virtual classrooms through no fault of their own.
Yeah, bird.
Kamani Russell is a big sister and a budding artist. Listen to the 9-year-old's philosophy on the meaning of art, her favorite subject.
Even if, like, you don't try to make the art beautiful, it turns out beautiful. And even if you do mess up, it's still beautiful.
I think you're beautiful.
Thank you.
I can say that. The third grader at the Edison School of the Arts is keeping up with her academics through paper packets. She can't do any of the work online. She has no access to internet service because of a past due cable bill with Spectrum. Her mother has faced tough financial times and says she may owe about $1,000. Her pleas for help, she says, fell on deaf ears.
Have you called them? What have you said?
Yes, I have. I have called them and I have let them know, like, hey, can y'all, like, waive this balance just for, you know, until everybody is able to get back working, so, you know, she can have this internet access to get her schoolwork done. No, I was actually told by one of them in the billing department that they're not going to do it. They want their money.
The advocacy group Stand for Children is critical of Spectrum for not helping kids that, through no fault of their own, are disconnected from the internet during a time that schools statewide were forced to turn to e-learning due to the pandemic.
We're all in this together. I mean, that's been the theme of these last several weeks. And while there are some companies, internet service providers, that are trying to do the right thing, I think there are a few, in this case Spectrum, that continue to hold a very hard line that are keeping families in need from being able to access the internet, which is just essential. Internet in this day and age is not a nice to have, it is a must have when it comes to the education of our kids.
Elvira Beltran's 4 children were also victims of an overdue cable bill. Luckily, an anonymous donor paid off her past due Spectrum bill of more than $267. But that was not enough. Stand for Children says her service was denied until the donor also paid an extra bill of more than $208 connected to her rental property. That removed the family's digital roadblock, connecting them once again to their online classrooms. Working for you, Rafael Sanchez, RTV6.
Before airing this story, we shared with the Spectrum's corporate office the names of all the people and details so they could respond. A Spectrum representative tells RTV6, quote, "We don't comment on specific customer issues." The statement goes on to say, quote, "Our position has not changed relative to our 60-day free internet offer for students and educators. Beyond that, we have extended the availability through June 30th. Mr. Nelson called Spectrum before the airing of this story, and her request for service was denied. Ms. Nelson, I should clarify, despite that statement that was given to RTV6. Putting this in perspective, the decision to help people with past due bills was done voluntarily by some of the biggest utilities before the governor's executive orders. IPL has kept the lights on for 33,000 customers with past due bills dating back to March 14th. And Citizens Energy is helping nearly 13,000 customers with past due bills since March 19th. All those people will be expected to repay those bills in the future.
Walmart will be opening 6 new COVID-19 testing sites and parking lots across the state of Indiana this week, and 5 of them will be in the Indianapolis metro area. The sites will allow anyone who meets CDC, state and local guidelines to be tested, including first responders, healthcare providers, and others with symptoms of COVID-19. The 6 new testing sites will open Friday and will then be available every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Appointments are required. To see the exact Walmart locations and to sign up for an appointment, click on this story on our website at theindychannel.com and on the RTV6 app. And we have everything you need to know about the COVID-19 pandemic in Indiana up right now on our website. That includes the latest numbers and what they mean, frequently asked questions, a list of COVID-19 symptoms, and again, companies who are hiring. Just go to theindychannel.com/coronavirus. Ice cream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream. That's especially true as the temperatures start to warm up and we inch closer to summer. You can satisfy your ice cream craving in the middle of this pandemic.
And we've had some occasional rain today, expecting that to be more widespread tomorrow. And I'll talk about our chances for seeing some stronger storms in your Friday forecast. You're watching RTV6 News at 6.
Papa Murphy's. Change the way you pizza.
This is RTV6 News at 6, working for you.
As the weather gets a little warmer, you might be in the mood for a strawberry shake, perhaps a hot fudge sundae. Well, Fortville's got just the place for you.
They've had to move service outside for a bit and some help from a delivery service of long ago. Our Brad Brown explains.
On most occasions, ice cream just tastes better outside.
People love ice cream. I love ice cream. And it's been fun to come up with like different themed shakes, and the creativity behind it, I really enjoy.
At Libby's in downtown Fortville, they're getting the scoop on sidewalk service.
It's been crazy. Like every day it was a different thing. So furniture was moving, walls got painted, we did some upgrades, but is the door open? Is the door closed? Just every day unknowing, and everybody asking us what we were going to do and not knowing what we were going to do.
With a spot right in the middle of Fortville's Main Street, Libby's Ice Cream and Gifts has become a gathering spot for young and old alike.
People would come in and sit, and we became family because we talk. Now we didn't have that. They would call on the phone. So we learned to stand 6 feet away and talk through the windows or talk with a crack in the window. And we just changed. We morphed. We made it work.
Curbside and outside service has been a big adjustment, but Libby's crew continues mixing up the same tasty shakes, cones, and more.
My first concern was, am I essential? And when I would ask several different people, they're like, heck yeah, you're bringing me joy. And so that made me feel better.
And there's no shortage of fun with this group. How about some dino delivery? Libby's T-Rex has been helping get ice cream to local merchants and drive-up customers. A good dose of smiles with those Sundays.
It's wacky, but it makes people laugh. It's been a great experience to realize that I'm in a village that is really here to support us.
Working for you in Fortville, Brad Brown, RTV6.
Love that. And Libby has just this week reopened her shop for carry-out only. They're still offering curbside pickup as well, and keep an eye out for that T-Rex. Could be roaming the streets of Fortville again soon.
A T-Rex with some ice cream, though, that's one I'll run toward. All right, as we look at the rain chances over the next several days, you're going to get used to having that umbrella because we've got rain chances ramping up on Friday. Looks like about a 30% chance coming our way on Saturday before they get back up there going into the second half of the weekend. Right now, Storm Team 6 radar fairly quiet, a couple of light showers for you around the Peru area, but we may see a couple of additional thunderstorms popping up here this evening now that the wet weather has moved east of us from the afternoon. We'll see that activity starting to lift to the north around Lafayette, Peru, Logansport by 10 o'clock tonight, and in Monticello as well. And then I think as we go through the overnight, best chance for some of that heavy rain is going to be out of the RTV6 area into northern Indiana. 67 degrees for us right now in Indianapolis. We've got that rain-cooled air also in Kokomo. 80, though, in the Bloomington area with some sunshine. Temperatures tonight will be very mild. We'll start off tomorrow morning into the middle and lower 60s. 64 in the city for us. I think it's dry early on, but then we'll start to see those showers and thunderstorms overspreading the region once again. Had some of that this morning. Looks like a repeat performance going into our Friday. Middle of the day here, looks like it will be fairly widespread for us. I think we'll have rain and a few rumbles of thunder moving through. We'll get that round off to the southeast before we start to see a few more of those thunderstorms with any of that heating in the afternoon that can start to redevelop here. A few more showers hanging on into our Friday evening. Tomorrow, we've got that isolated chance, a strong shower or thunderstorm out there. So we've got the marginal risk from Indianapolis to the southeast. Primary threat's going to be some gusty winds. So temperatures tomorrow will be a little cooler. We're not going to see the 80s in central Indiana, but we will see those lower 70s returning. So it's pretty seasonal for this time of year. A high of 73 for you in Danville and Hendricks County, 72 in Rushville and Kokomo at 71. The temperatures rebound here going into the weekend. 78 on Saturday. Again, I think that's going to be the pick of the weekend with some lower rain chances before they ramp back up going into our Sunday with a high of 75. 7-day planning forecast, things quiet down next week. Temporarily cooler, though, with highs in the 60s on Monday and Tuesday. Then it looks like we'll finally start to get some more sunshine back into the area. Temperatures taking off once again. We're into the mid-70s by Thursday.
I'm Dave First with another RTV6 Senior Salute as we continue to honor the graduating spring sport class. We head to Bishop Chatard, meet the senior class, the Trojans, sectional champs the last 2 seasons, ready to make this spring one for the record books. Didi Kasky led the Trojans in batting average, RBI, home runs, fielding percentage, and more. She's off to play at Illinois Chicago next spring. Abigail Reeves, a 3-year starter at third base. She'll play at Huntington. Starting pitcher Carolina Thompson will play at Manchester. Throw in Anna Pruitt, Reagan Behringer, Jane Phelps, and even manager Jocelyn Wims. What a legacy. Good luck, ladies. I'm Dave First with another RTV6 Senior Salute.
I'm Carl Brizzi. I approve this message.
Welcome back. Let's do a WRTV photo of the day.
This cute and beautiful photo comes to us from Ann Nelson. You can see a mama bird is feeding her young in a tree.
And look how hungry those babies are there. Look at that. Not every day that you see a picture of nature this up close. Ann took this photo at Eagle Creek Park, by the way. She says it was a great day, and we want to thank you, Ann, for it.
Yes, thank you. And send us your photo of the day. Email it to news@WRTV.com, and we may choose to air it here on the news at 6. Kyle?
I will spare you my Woody Woodpecker impressions and go right into the 7-day forecast. We got 73 tomorrow, so a little cooler with some more widespread rain and thunderstorms in the area. Those temperatures will stay in the 70s for highs for the upcoming weekend.
Are you sure you don't want to do it?
I'm definitely asking once we get to break.
That's it for us here at 6.
See you at 7.